Hi guys, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video, and today I thought I'd do a weekend read slash telling you a little bit about something new I'm gonna be participating in. I haven't done Friday reads or weekend reads for a while, and I really enjoy filming these, and now since I had some time to film, I thought I wanted to do that. But this video I'll also be focusing on a new challenge that I'm gonna be participating in, and that is the R Fantasy Bingo challenge. I've seen a couple of booktubers talking about how they're gonna be participating, and I just find that challenge extremely interesting, because it will definitely push me to read some more. I do read a lot of fantasy, but this will push me to read a lot of subgenres that I haven't delved into, and so that will be sort of out of my comfort zone. I'll be talking about the Fantasy Bingo a little later, but first let me get into the books that I'm currently working on, and then we'll go on from there. The first book that I'm currently reading is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. As you can see, I am about halfway through this book, and I have quite a bit left. I had put these goal tabs in so that I could see how much I needed to read every day to finish this on Sunday, which is tomorrow. And I didn't read anything yesterday, and it's not because I'm not enjoying it, but yesterday was really busy because I had my parents and my brother over for dinner, and I had some other things to do. I actually had 2 hours of reading at one point, so I could have gotten through some more. But I didn't, because I was really tired then, so I actually ended up sleeping for about 1.5 hours or something before I had to start getting dinner ready. I did read something in the morning though, but yeah, that was only like 50, 60 pages or something. But it's really getting intense. There's a lot of things happening, and I can't wait to find out what's going to happen. But I have to put this down for a bit, which is annoying me a little bit, because I have to finish A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. I had to change my Tome Topple TBR around a little bit, because first of all I didn't get to Darker Shade of Magic before the Tome Topple started, so I couldn't read Gathering of Shadows, and I just finished Six of Crows on Saturday morning after the Tome Topple had started, so I didn't want to go straight into Crooked Kingdom. That's why I picked up Well of Ascension, but I had also started in on Court of Mist and Fury. And in all honesty, even though everyone says that Court of Mist and Fury is so much better than Court of Thorns and Roses, I have the same feelings about Court of Mist and Fury as I had about Court of Thorns and Roses, in the pace of the story and my enjoyment of it. It's okay, but it's not something that I really want to read right now. But I have to read it because it expires, I think, tomorrow or the day after, and I'm only like 30% through. Oh, it expires in 3 days, so I have definitely today and tomorrow to read, and then maybe also Monday, but it depends on when it expires on that day. I have quite a bit of reading today, so hopefully I'll get a lot of it out of it today, because I want to finish this tomorrow, and then I'll be getting back into the Well of Ascension, which I'm really enjoying. Yeah, I'm hoping that Court of Mist and Fury will become better, but right now I'm 280 or something pages into the ebook, and the ebook is 883 pages or something, so quite a lot to go still. And the final book that I'm also working on for the Tome Topple as well is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, and I started out being a little meh about it, because the narration is really different. It's second person, is that what it's called? Narration, some parts of it, so that the narrator speaks to you, and since I'm listening to the audio, it's very direct. I feel like it's like she's telling me what I'm feeling, and I'm like, what? You don't know if that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, I had to get used to that. But I really think that the story is taking a lot more form now, and I'm about 60% through. But yeah, I am enjoying it. I've also heard that it just pays off in the end with the narration, so hopefully I'll understand that when I get to that. Yeah, but these are the 3 books that I'm currently working on. Hopefully I'll be able to finish all of them doing Tome Topple, and then I'll be getting into Crooked Kingdom when I finish Well of Ascension. And yeah, so we'll see how far I get into that. I don't think I'll be able to finish that, because I only have a lot of reading time here in the Easter break, which I had Thursday and Friday off because those are holidays in Denmark, and Monday is also a holiday in Denmark, so I have the Thursday, Friday and Monday off from work, so I have 5-day weekend. But let's get into the other things that I wanted to talk about today, the R Fantasy Bingo. First of all, the R Fantasy Bingo is a year-long challenge that goes from April 1st until March 31st. And yeah, you have to tick off all these spots, all the spots that you can. Hopefully, I'll be able to complete all of the tasks that are in this bingo sheet, and I'll put a picture of the bingo sheet up here so you can see it. I'll also put a link in the description down below if you want to participate. You can go and read some more about the challenge. But yeah, as I said, this is something that's going to be definitely pushing on my comfort zone when it comes to fantasy. I tend to read mostly high fantasy or YA fantasy books, but I also really want to explore some more in the fantasy genre. The challenge for the R Fantasy Bingo is also that you cannot use the same author twice, so you have to finish. In that way, you'll explore some more fantasy authors, and yeah. I think I found a lot of great authors for the majority of these books, but let's get into them. For the first row across, as you can see at the top, the first task is to read an R Fantasy GOODREADS book of the month, past or present. And I saw that they had already, in March they read Six of Crows, and I finished that in April. I started it in April and finished it right before the tone trouble started, or actually as the tone trouble started, and so I'm gonna choose that one to fit that square. The next one is a graphic novel or an audio. I feel like this is something to do with the format, but I feel I listen to audios all the time, and I'm gonna use audios for a lot of these tasks, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it because I am reading long books, but for this specific task I'm going to use a graphic novel. I'm going to have Saga Volume 5 and 6 here soon, and I'm also going to have Descender Volume 2, but actually those are more like sci-fi, so I'm not sure if they work. If they don't, I also have some manga series here. I have Full Metal Alchemist Volume 3 and 4 and yeah, I think either one of those could be used for this because they definitely explore some fantasy elements as well. A novel that features time travel, I'm gonna be reading Just One Damn Thing After Another because this book was recommended by Caitlin over at Kitty G, and I find that it sounded really fun and interesting, and so I got it down on my Audible account with the credits for this month. The next box is a fantasy book that was released in 2017, and for that one I'm gonna use The Bone Witch by Pago. This is a book that I'm really excited to get to. This main character is a part of a big family of witches, and when she accidentally resurrects her brother, I think, they find out that she has necromantic powers, and that's frowned upon a little bit because everyone is a little scared of it, and they are afraid of the power because it's very powerful. And I think they send her away in order to know how to control it or something. I'm not sure about that, and I'm looking forward to reading this. I hope I really will be enjoying this. And then the last spot on the first row is a fantasy author's debut novel, and I'm not sure which author I'm going to use for this, but if you know of any great fantasy debuts, then please leave the comments down below. Maybe I'll check them out because I haven't really decided on a book here yet. And on the second row, the first one is non-fiction fantasy related book, and I have no ideas what to pick for this one because I really don't read a lot of non-fiction, and the reason I haven't been doing that is every time I pick up a non-fiction book, they're really textbook-like, like when you went to school, and I hated doing my homework at school. I hated reading the textbooks for school. So if you can recommend any books that are fantasy related and that are not too textbook-like, then I'd really like to know in the comments, because I want to check some more non-fiction out, because I do think that there are non-fiction out there that I really enjoy, but I have absolutely no idea what to pick. And then I have a fantasy book that's been on your TBR for more than a year, and I just went actually back 1 year what I added to my list just 1 year ago, just to see what I could pick. I'm sort of considering The Unbecoming of Dyer. I'm really interested in this, but I feel like this is more like a paranormal book, so I don't feel like it completely fits this challenge. And then I also added A World Without Heroes by Brandon Moore. I haven't checked him out yet, but I've heard that he's a really great middle grade writer, and I'm really curious about his books. And then finally, I also have put down The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. I've heard really great things about this fantasy series, even though it's young adult. I think Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes have been talking about this really a lot, and how she really enjoyed the main character and how there's some diversity elements added to it, if I remember correctly. But let me know in the comments down below which of these 3 books you think that I'd enjoy the most and that I should check out first. Then the next one is an award-winning fantasy book, and I'm gonna choose the 5th season for this one because I know that this won a Hugo Award, and I'm currently working on this one, so I feel like this is pretty perfect. The next spot is a subgenre, and that's dystopia, post-apocalyptic and stuff. And for that one, I think I'm gonna go with World After by Susan E. I've had this book on my shelf forever, and I really enjoyed Angel Fall, and this is definitely a sort of angel apocalypse, and I'm interested in seeing where this will go. And the next square is the R Fantasy Big List of underrated or underread authors. For that, I'm gonna go with Mage's Blood by David Hare, because Caitlin over Kitty G has been raving about this particular series for in a couple of videos that I've watched, and it sounds really, really amazing, and I'm really intrigued to see what sort of author David Hare is. And it's a 4-book series, so it's not super long if I like it, and I saw that I can get it down on my Audible account. I'm going to be listening to the audios of this one. And then we're going down to the 3rd row, and the first square on the 3rd row is to read a horror novel. I don't read a ton of horror, and I don't know if it's because it scares me or if it's just because I'm not sure where to start. I just recently bought Bird Box by Josh Milliman, and everyone that I've seen doing a review of this has really, really enjoyed it and said it's really, really creepy. So I'm gonna be using Bird Box for the horror square. Or if I'm not gonna read that, I'm gonna challenge myself to read It. That's this thing about me and clowns. I'm slightly terrified by clowns, and the movie It didn't make it a lot better. I don't particularly think that it's the best movie ever because the ending was terrible, but Pennywise the clown scares the bejesus out of me in the video, especially when they're kids. But yeah, I do own It. And as you can see, I'm slightly looking away from the cover because it freaks me out. And I really want to read it, but I may be reading the audio for this. Yeah, but this, if I read this one, I'll be super proud of myself, but it is a 1200 pages book, and yeah. But definitely let me know in the comments down below which book you think I should read of these two, if it's gonna be Bird Box, if it's gonna be It. I'd like to know. The next square is reuse any previous R Fantasy category. This is apparently a challenge that's been going on for a couple of years, so I went back and looked at last year's categories, and there was one that was read a sci-fi book, and for that I'm going with Fascinating by John Scalzi. I really want to get into this book, and it's slightly short, and it's definitely something that's also pushing my comfort zone because I don't read a lot of sci-fi, and I really want to read some more sci-fi. And then next square is a self-published author, fantasy author, and for that I'd like some recommendations down below as well, because I don't know, I don't often look at the books that I want to read from different publishers. I really don't know. If you see all of the books that I've read this quarter so far, there's not, I think all of the different books are by different publishers almost. There's a few that I read more than one from, but apart from that, I really didn't read of the same publishers, so it's not something that I'm consciously aware about. So I'd really love recommendations about self-published authors down below, if you have any good recommendations about that. And then the last square on this row is a fantasy novel that features a non-human protagonist. I decided to go with Watership Down by, I forgot the author's name, is Richard Adams. I really haven't read a lot of classics, and the reason is that every time I feel like I read a classic, I feel like I'm reading homework again, and I really didn't enjoy reading at school, and I know this sounds weird, but yeah. But I have read a few classics that I really enjoyed, so I'm hoping that I'll find some more that I really will like, and I think Watership Down has so many great reviews, and it sounds like an interesting concept. The first square on the fourth row is read a sequel, not the first in the series, and for that I'm gonna go with The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. So I'm already working on this, and it's the second book in the Mistborn. And for the novel by an R-fantasy author of the day, I think I'm gonna go Mark Lawrence. He was featured there, and I really want to read Red Sister, so that's the book that I'm gonna choose for that. I've never read anything by Mark Lawrence before, so this will be the first time exploring him as an author. Another subgenre, which is Fantasy of Manners. I think Fantasy of Manners is a fantasy book that is set in the late 1800s or something like that. But for this one, I'm gonna go with another recommendation by Kitty G. You see a pattern here, don't you? And it's gonna be Between Two Thorns by Emma Newman. I heard that the narration for this one is completely amazing because it's Emma Newman herself that is narrating these books. And the next square is a fantasy novel that features dragons. And for that one, I'm gonna go with A Natural History of Dragons by Maria Brennan. And then another subgenre which is called the New Weird. And I'm not exactly sure what New Weird means in terms of genre. I didn't read up on that, but I just checked the genre on GOODREADS and found some that was tagged New Weird on there. And there's American Gods by Neil Gaiman that I'm considering. I've read 4 Neil Gaiman books so far, and some of them I've really enjoyed, some of them was a little meh, but I'm definitely going to be exploring some more Neil Gaiman books in the future. And I feel like this one is either hit or miss for a lot of people, but I'm intrigued, and I'm definitely going to be listening to the audio because Neil Gaiman is fantastic at narrating books. And now we're on to the last row, and the first square is a novel featuring seafaring. I'm going to be reading a book by an author that I have not yet read anything from, but I've heard that she's an amazing author, and she's won some awards, and she's a literary genius in fantasy. But I'm gonna be reading A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. And then the next square is a subgenre again, and this is steampunk, and I definitely have to read Soulless by Gail Carriger. I've only heard really great things about this series from the majority of the booktubers that I follow, and I love urban fantasy. I love these genre, and I feel like Soulless is also sort of an urban fantasy read as well as steampunk. I know I'm gonna love it, so now is the time for me to start reading these books. If I'm not going to love it, I'm gonna be extremely disappointed, but I don't think that's going to be the case. And the next square is 5 fantasy short stories. I have 4 different short story collections. I think one of them is more sci-fi than anything else, and that is Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. I've heard nothing but great reviews of this, but this is more like a sci-fi, so I'm not sure how this works. And then I have Down These Strange Streets, which is a short story collection edited together by George R. R. Martin and Gardner. I really don't know how to say his last name. I am interested in this short story collection because it's urban fantasy, and I hope that they're standalone sort of short stories and not part of a series that I have not yet gotten through. And then I also have Rogues that's edited by the same authors, George R. R. Martin and Gardner. I want to say Dossoir, but I'm not sure at all. This is a chunky one, so this would definitely be a challenge. And then the final one I have is Enthralled, which is edited by Melissa Marr and Kelly Armstrong. I really love Kelly Armstrong's young adult trilogy, Darkest Powers and Darkness Rising. I haven't read anything by Melissa Marr, but I have her book 2 and 3 of a series on my shelf. I just need the first book. These are the 4 different short story collections I can choose from. Let me know in the comments which one you think I should read of those. The second to last square is a novel by an author from an fantasy author appreciation post, and this I haven't found anything yet. There's a lot of different authors on there, but I don't really know any of the authors, and I don't know what books to sort of go for. And if you've looked at these lists, please let me know if you'd recommend and books that you think I'd enjoy. Then please let me know in the comments below. And finally, which I think is one of the trickiest ones, read a fantasy novel that has a protagonist that's 50 years plus. And the only thing I can think of is the Old Man's War series by John Scalzi, but that is sci-fi. And yeah, I don't think I know anything about a protagonist that's 50 plus. If you have any suggestions in this area, please let me know as well. This video was a lot longer than I anticipated, but there was a lot of squares to talk about. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below about some suggestions about any of these that I'm in doubt of. I'd really love to know. And let me know as well if you're going to be participating, because I think it's a really interesting concept. And finally, the final thing I want to say is that when I started this year, I wanted to start doing some singular book reviews, but I always feel like I don't know which books to actually make reviews of, what books anyone would like to hear more of. And now I've decided that every book that I fit into a square on this challenge, I'll be doing a singular book review of this as well. So look out for a review of Six of Crows. It will be up on my channel really soon. I think this will be a way that I'll be pushed into doing this, and then I won't be thinking too much about the books that I want to do reviews of separately. This is all I have for you today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Goodbye!